guys, this is Chris tuning in. I have Gary Williams here with I Like Watches. Gary, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No, absolutely. And I would love to kind of dive into the conversation we were just having in
Sure.
regards to your backdrop, looking at all the watches back there.
I tell you what spawned this is I ran out of watch boxes. So I was like, what can I do with these spare watches? So I just threw up a couple of shelves. I've got a little drone in there. The hairbrush seems to be an iconic piece.
It is an iconic piece. I always see that.
That gets more attention. I get asked about that regularly. I just can't bring myself to throw it away. You never know. One day.
You never know. We could say it's also a beard brush.
Well, yeah, that would be too obvious, though.
That'd be too obvious.
That's no fun, is it? So, yeah. No, it doesn't get used. I have genuinely had that brush for about 30 years.
That's amazing.
But believe it or not, I used to have long hair, centre parting, ringlets and curls.
Of course. The mullet and everything as well.
Those are the days. But yeah, this is really just watches that I haven't got watch boxes for. So yeah, there's a few hanging around. I'm not going to lie. Yeah.
I can't imagine how many watches you actually have. If you had to, and I know you've done you've done your watch collections a couple of times, but can you kind of give us an idea of how many watches you have floating around in your collection?
Yeah, it's got okay,
whether it's active or inactive.
Okay, so yeah, interestingly, you're calling it a collection, and I've made a point in videos in the past that I'm not sure watch reviewers can really identify watches that are in their collection. I certainly can't. I see a lot of watch reviewers doing state of the collection videos. And ever since I started a channel, pretty much every watch I've bought has been for the channel. And I've reviewed watches that I owned prior to the channel starting. So it's a mess, to be honest. I don't have a watch collection anymore, but I have around 200 watches floating around. I've handled maybe 300, 350. So a lot of borrowed. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the job, isn't it? I have to get experience. I have to get lots of. A lot of people say to me, or not a lot, a few people have said, why don't you just get yourself some nice luxury watches? And I'm like, yeah, but that'd be a rubbish channel. Just be repeatedly showing one or two Rolexes. The whole point of a channel.
Yeah, and I think that's really what's interesting about your channel, and that's what's really drew me in. So it looks like, based on your channel statistics, it looks like you joined in early 2020, right?
So I started New Year's Eve 2019.
Got it.
I lost my first channel on the 1st of October last year. So it was running for 9 months. I built up just short of 11,500 subscribers. Lost my channel.
We'll dive into this YouTube craziness that's going on with the watch guys.
But then started again, and I'm here back. I'm pretty much back to where I was. It's taken 10 months. It's been crazy, but yeah.
But you're killing it. You're killing it, man. And
that's very kind. By what definition would you say I'm killing it? I'm curious to know what you mean.
So I think, you say, first off, you saved my COVID because I was obsessed with watching your videos. My wife was walking around every single day. She's listening to watch reviews left and right. And she's like, how many times are you going to watch Gary, man?
Oh, that's very sweet. That is very kind.
Well,
I love it. I love it. But yeah.
I would say the quality of videos that you put out, and I think that the demographic that you're trying to target is new in the sense that, sure, there's a lot of great videos out there in watch channels out there. You have Theo and Harris, you have Bark and Jack. Love these guys, and I really do. Their production is insane. But I think they do target a specific demographic. It is a little bit more premium watches. And I think for people that are starting to get into watches, and I think we're really starting to see in 2018, we started kind of seeing that influx, whether it was, even early on with, people getting into, unfortunately, it's a sticky conversation, but Daniel Wellingtons and all of these, movement watches, but now transitioning into seeing what $100, $200 watches can now get you. It's really, my wife was actually asking me, due to all of this, she's starting to get into watches as well. And she's like, what can I get for $100? What can I get for $200? And I think everyone has that question. And I think channels like you are opening up the market for people to see, whether it be homages, whether it be Seikos, whether it be Citizen watches, Casios. there's so many different watches out there, and it's
Yeah.
you're opening up the market for them.
Well, that's absolutely right. I think you've nailed it, really. So my channel, I've always tried to make it about, yeah, showing what's available for the money. And what we have to remember is YouTube is international. You know, $50 to some people is a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So I try to be very respectful to the audience. You know, yeah, basically my focus is, if you're going to spend $100, $200 on a watch, this is what you should be looking at. And that's really what my channel's all about. It's not about selling watches. It's about just guiding people towards good watches and opening people's eyes and minds to what is out there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great because we're seeing that people are more and more getting into watches and whatever. I think it's an amazing hobby, and I think it's a passionate hobby for a lot of people. Now, I would say people that are really enthusiastic about watches, whether it be me or someone to your degree, I think we do get into this very small realm of watch collecting that is so niche that people just don't understand. People that are new to watches, or maybe own a watch or two, they don't understand the
No,
obsession. You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
those
I mean,
late
you hear the
nights.
phrase rabbit holes. You know, I've been down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there are so many different rabbit holes when it comes to watches. Like, I just recently started to get interested in vintage watches, and that is just, I mean,
A
there
whole
is
different realm.
absolutely. It might as well be a completely different hobby. It's so different. I
It's
was
so
learning about
different.
different mechanical movements, vintage quartz, vintage battery
Variations,
powered.
models.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was surprising when I started to produce that content. I say surprising, it probably shouldn't have been surprising, but I felt like I was perhaps the only one that didn't really understand those. But then when I put the content out, there was so many people saying, oh, I never even knew that was the case. I never even knew those existed. I didn't realize you could pick that up for £100. And that's really, for me, I mean, that was worth it for me. I spent the day with this guy, Andy, up the road. I say up the road, it was about 2 hours away.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And it's given this channel a whole different dimension. And I'm going to be visiting him now once every month or so, just to learn a bit more, you know, pick up some watches, bring them back, review them. Yeah. And it's great that so many more people are getting into it.
So we
Yeah.
haven't done one yet. I don't know. I didn't catch if you're wearing a watch, but want to do a quick wristwatch check?
Course, yeah. So this is a giveaway watch. Actually, I'm just enjoying it for the last day or two.
Oh man, let's see it.
I just reviewed it. It's San Martin's new vintage Rolex Explorer homage. So they're paying homage to a very old Rolex Explorer. A stunning watch, absolutely incredible watch. One of the really sort of high value for money brands that you can explore on AliExpress. And yeah, I reviewed it recently. It's incredible. It's not for me, which is why I was happy to give it away to a subscriber, but it is fantastic. Yeah. What are you wearing?
I saw your video. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm actually wearing and this might rub some people the wrong way, but I'm actually wearing a vintage 1990s Gucci watch. And I say rub people the wrong way because it is considered a fashion watch. But I think their vintage timepieces really stand out from what they are today. I guess if you're kind of thinking about Invicta, vintage Invictas are absolutely gorgeous. And then you start looking at the modern Invictas, you're looking at 50 millimeter watches sometimes. But I really do like it. It's a small 34 millimeter case. It was one of those things where I was on eBay just kind of scraping the web, and I picked up one of these, and I picked up a Raketa from the Soviet days. It's actually a really cool watch. It's should be coming in this week, but it's going to be one of those. It was for the blind, and it actually has a case that actually lifts up and displays the actual internals, the hands and everything. But it actually has embossed fields in there where you can actually feel the actual time and everything. It's incredible, and it was a $60 watch, mechanical, gorgeous. So, but yeah, actually going back to your video, I watched it. And I remember when I was kind of surfing San Martin's page, I was like, wow, they're gonna come out with an Explorer. I think everyone's been waiting for a sub 40 millimeter watch that was just clean, daily use. You kind of hit all of the marks. And I think everyone has that fascination with Explorer watches, especially as of now, and how Rolex is just so hard to get. But I loved it, and I loved your video. But I could definitely see with some of the other reviews how that one is. It's amazing. The build quality is amazing, but it's just a little bit more. Maybe the V2 version might just be that perfect watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think I put on the thumbnail amazing but disappointing or something, and disappointing, and that was really because I was trying to let people know that it is amazing, but it's just disappointing to me. Not because it's not brilliantly built or any of those things. It's just I was anticipating. I'd heard ages ago, like a lot of people, they're bringing out this watch, and I thought it would be a representation of the more current watch. So for months I was and that is one of my grail watches, the Rolex Explorer 1. I love it, absolutely love it. And so then when I saw this, I was like, and I was really, really gutted. But in the review, you can't focus on that too much. You have to review what's in front of you. And it is incredible. There is no denying it. I mean, this will sell really, really well. But it's just not what I was hoping for, sadly. There you go. But yeah, you never know. They might make one in the future.
What do you think about some of these brands kind of bringing up their pricing?